Hello, welcome back to another week of trying to make this work. It's what is it, 4 or 5 episodes for just this guy so far? Obviously, I've been slacking here and there. We've talked about if I just like focused for a whole day, I could probably get most of something like this done. But I have a hard time. Sometimes I just have to sit down and think and really just put my like just turn my brain away from it, but also kind of have it there, and then something will like come to me. Sometimes it's just I go to sleep and then like I'll wake up and have an idea on how to make it a little bit better. Um, but right now I'm struggling. Things are not fitting well, and I don't know what to do about it because I can't visualize it. So most of the time when we build these types of things, even the smaller things that we've built, or the eagle or the horse head or the horseshoe, I have a vision of what I want it to end up like. As I'm building it, the vision changes slightly. The eagle's a perfect example of that. Is that I had a vision and then it changed as I was making all the pieces. But for the most part, it came out very well. And this, I think, because I'm not making this just for me, um, just to make it kind of thing. Like I had an idea and I made it. I made like somebody asked me to make something like this. I'm stressing about it a little bit more, and that's something I'm gonna have to get used to if people want me to make specific things. Um, but anyway, I've made a couple of pieces. You can see I added a couple of pieces to the neck area. They're just barely tacked on and very wobbly. This one is hardly on at all. It's got two little tacks, but I could just rip that off if I wanted to. Same with this other one here. This one needs to be straightened. That one's staying for sure, but this front one I think is potentially an issue because I think I want the ears to start here, so this front one needs to change. It needs to have a little bit more of a bend in it, maybe. I don't know. But I've made the front part of the horse head, just like we did with the horse head sculpture. I've made a small little rounded wavy piece, and that's just going to sit on top. That's going to be where the nostrils come into play here, just like we did on the other one. And then I made the bottom lip slash chin area, and so they would sit like this, just like we did before. But my problem is that if I start putting them on, first of all, I'll have to like weld these pieces on a little bit more permanently. I'd have to cut them off if I don't like them. So I'm nervous because if for me to start putting the front of the face together, which I really want to do, just so we can try to build it, I think these might be too small, and not like small like, but I think they're not like long enough to give us like the larger amount, the horse head. I'm just afraid that our horse head is going to be too small, and just kind of like the deer was, that it just made it look funny. Um, and I know that I can't judge 100% of that based on what the frame looks like. We're going to have to build it out to really, like, if it's just too small in my brain, then maybe it will work. If it's too big, it will always be too big, but it will only get bigger as we add stuff to it. But I'm just nervous. Like, part of me wants to just take it and just put it on the best way possible, and then go from there and see what we can do with it. But I'm so nervous about it because I don't want to have to start cutting things off because I'm afraid of what that will do to the shoes and make it look jagged and edgy and that kind of stuff. But I think we're going to do it anyway. That's just how we do things sometimes. I'm kind of liking the neck, but it's a little extended. So if we have to adjust this top shoe in order to bring the head down sooner, I will. And this, I don't know if it should be lower or not. So the best thing for me to do is to take the pieces we've made and just slap them both on and then see what it would look like with some extra shoes. I haven't made anything else really. I've made the jaw lines for the sides of the horse head, but I don't know where they sit. See, this is, if it sits back here, right, then this shoe has to change drastically, right? Because we want the jawline to not be too close to the nose. So remember, because the ears are generally right above where the jawline ends. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some more welding points to these guys quickly, and from there we'll because if I add more weight to this, this is going to fall off. So I'll add some more welds to these guys here, and we'll get the bottom part of the mouth on, and then we'll try to tack this guy on briefly and just see if it's, because I can't step back far enough to see if this is good enough. I just can't. So I mean, I could just film it with me holding it there and then watch the film, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a second here. I'm going to get those pieces on. I'm going to put the welds on, get those pieces on, and then we'll see what else we have to make here. Piece of wire stuck on there. All right. Seems straight this way. It doesn't seem exactly straight this way. It seems mostly straight this way. So we want it around here, I think. I don't have shoes made for this part because I wasn't sure about this shoe here. Like, I'm not sure about it. So just take something and I think for our next sculpture, I might go and buy some like fatter gauged just wire that I can mold into a skeleton frame and then just kind of piece around it. Just trying to get a visual here of what it might look like once adding the other shoes and stuff. These might actually kind of work. Obviously, they'd have to be shaped. But it's just playing around with the idea. Maybe gets a couple to do this. Might be better the other way around. Trying to be careful because this is still only just tacked on. Scared me. I'm trying to change like how I did the original Horsehead statue. I copied the nose portion. I think that's just my go-to how to make a horse head. I really like the design that I came up with that. But I'm trying to like change other aspects of it so it's not the same every time. I don't think I'd enjoy making the same thing every time over and over and over again. Yeah, it's going to be skinny little head, isn't it? That's a problem. Bring it out a little bit more. Well, I got some things to think about and some shoes to bend. That top shoe up there might not change now. If I get the ears here, that'll be pretty good. Let me just adjust kind of like where we put this. I don't think I'm going to fit two shoes in here. Well, maybe if I overlap a little bit. But that's what we did on the other one. If we overlap a little bit, it will get a little bit wider, which I think is nice. We overlap the front just to give it that tiered look like we did on the first one. Maybe that's just the design choice for our horse heads. So, yeah, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to clean up some more shoes. We're going to get some. I think I'm going to make this weld permanent. Like all this up to here. I think it's going to just be permanent. We're going to try it. We're going to try it. It is a skinny face though. Maybe I'll figure out how the nostrils look first before I do anything else, or before I make it permanent. And then so when we come back, there might be nostrils, just because I figured it out. Because last thing I want is the nostril to go from here all the way to the bottom, because that's just not right. We want a gap. So I'm going to have to make some smaller nostrils to get in there, and we're going to flare them out a little bit. So maybe it makes the head a little bit bigger. And then it will give me a good idea of the guide I want to use for this. Either way, we'll be back with some progress, and we'll be adding some more. Welcome to a new week. Okay, Well, it's been a bit since the last little segment there. I don't even remember how I ended the last segment, but I know that I didn't like what the horse head looked like or how it was coming along. And so I've taken it off and put it back on 2 full times now. A couple of the things that I did, not a bunch of this isn't on yet. It's just clamped so I can see. But one of the things I did is I did take the nose piece off, and then reshape it a bit just to give us a little bit more wideness here. The unfortunate thing is it's a little bit tilted now, but it's really hard to notice. But yeah, we did that. And then I realized also the way that we had the neck was far too bendy and long. So then I cut the neck off originally, and then I shaped another curvy piece, this one here, and put it on, and then it was worse. And then I cut it off again, and now we see how I'm pretty sure this is how I'm going to put it back on. It's just clamped into place here, but it's overlapping this shoe here just to give us this thing. Because I couldn't get all of the shoes to fit. Like if I had it outwards, it was too wide to put one shoe or too long to put one shoe. And if I put it all the way in, it was too short. So there was just always a gap. And so we still have that gap here. So what I've done up here is this has been overlapped to bring it back a bit, so it gives us kind of that shorter neck, but long enough for us to do our detail work on it. So this slider, this top slider up here, I pulled off, and then I'm setting it back about 1 inch, 2 inches here, so it's overlapping here. And then this last shoe up here, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this guy, is going to overlap on both the front, which looks good because we can have the forelock, the front hairs come from there, and then it overlaps on the back as well, and it gives us this kind of tiered step on the neck, which I kind of like. All in all, this head has been causing me nothing but stress. I'm getting locked in a cycle of perfection here, and so I'm not staying true to the saying of the shop, which is good enough. And not in a negative way. I don't want it to be, it's good enough. I think good enough is like, I can see the imperfections, but can anybody else kind of mentality. I did have Courtney come take a look at it originally, and she did agree with me that this was too narrow here. So that's why I pulled it apart. And, but she did mention that quarter horses generally have smaller faces than other horses, and quarter horses are what they use for this type of thing. So she gave me a little bit more of a I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, progressive push into the right direction. She gave me some more confidence. There we go, in what I was doing, which was awesome. This top shoe I actually made to go on the neck, but I think we're going to use it up here because it just kind of sits and fits perfectly. I just don't know if the clips are going to get in the way of us doing any detail work. I don't know, but I don't want to cut them off and then not have to, and then we have like cut marks, because we have cut marks almost everywhere now that I'm going to have to fix. And as I was going through, I was just looking, and some of our welds are just nasty. And so I might, if I can, I have the little Dremel, I might try to clean them up a little bit here and there in the final product. The good thing about working with horseshoes, especially like the bigger ones, is you can get in there and do stuff. But yeah, so I'm looking here now. I kind of want to redo this weld in here. There's a lot of weld in there, but it's kind of gappy, and I don't like it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna weld this all together as is, like this, and then we're probably going to put the jaw pieces on, and just see where we are at from there. I'm thinking on an angle so they come out a little bit, and then we can build the neck in behind them, which I think will be really nice. But like the tilt and the angle of this is going to be very important for the general structure of this. So we're going to just put some of this together just so I can take the clamps off, and then we can take a look at it, and hopefully, I say hopefully for sure, like this is just tacked, and this is just tacked, and this is just tacked. So I want to get it a little bit more permanent, so then I can play around with it, and then we'll see what it looks like from there. I mentioned doing the nostrils, but once I widened it, I figure I don't need to do that now. Yeah, let's take some time and get this stuff looking pretty good, I hope. We'll start with the ones that we know for sure. The top ones can wait. Until the end. All right. So we've fairly permanently attached every piece except for the top piece. And the reasoning behind that is, what if I want to change it? I mean, it looks okay from here. It looks like it's, let's see what you guys see in here. It looks like it's okay. It's coming along. It's a little tilted, but I mean, everything's a little tilted. I think that's going to have to do for that piece. Still a little wobbly. Not 100% perfect, but I think we can, I think anything that we have wrong from this point though can generally be fixed up with detail work and adding facial features and that kind of stuff. I really want to try to get as much of this done as possible so then we can actually start working on the mane and tail, just because I think those are going to be really long, hard-fought sessions of thinking and figuring out. And like if I want to cut all of those rasps, like that's a lot of rasps cutting, and I still only have my angle grinder to do that on. So I want to make sure that I give myself some good amount of time where I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just doing that. So I would really like to get the face mostly done. Maybe we won't do the eyes and nostrils. We'll get the neck filled in. and see where we are from there. But let's figure out where these jaws are going to go, because I'm going to have to hold them and tack them into place, like as I figure it out. And I have this weird feeling I'm going to pull them off a couple of times, trying to get it perfect, but like I want to figure out where the ears are going to be in relation, because remember, the top of this jawline, we want the ears to be above it. And so we're going to want the ears to be in the middle of this shoe, it looks like. We want them facing forward, and they're going to be outside of that shoe a little bit. We don't want this to be all the way up here, touching it. We want it to be below this, under the jaw neck area. And the reason for that is because when I fill this area in, it will cover this spot. If you look this way, when I put this on, this shoe is going to be poking up above the jawline. And that's fine, because I'm going to cover it with another shoe like we did on the horse head. And then so it will look like the jaw is going up, or the chin jaw, like neck area, is coming up under the jawline, just like it is with horses. So I think I just try it and see what we can do. I just don't know how far down it should be. Like, I don't think it should be that close to the, like, I feel like this is just too close to the mouth area. So I want it further back a bit. But I don't want it to be too high either. So these are the pieces I'm going to use. I'm not going to worry about making smaller ones or something, because they look good. I just don't want the angle to be too much. I don't know. What do you think? I think this one needs to come out just a tad. But let's see what other things are going to look like first. I think it looks like a horse head, so that's fine. It's just, does it speak to me in the way that I need it to? So when I was going through the box of shoes that she gave me, these really cool little shoes showed up. And they're tiny little bar shoes. They're really gnarly looking. I have to clean them, but they're just circles. And I was going to save them for another project, but I'm wondering if they do really cool, if they'd look really cool, kind of being in the jaw. And so I'm going to clean them up, and we're going to put them in, and we're going to see really how cool they look. Because I think it'd be a really cool addition to try to use all of the unique shoes that she has, or that she had given, and then that gives us that opportunity to cover that jaw space, if you know what I'm talking about. These are really gross shoes, though. I feel like they were in that bucket longer than most other shoes. I just want to see. What it will look like. I think it's a cool little addition. like the similar to how like the Heart Bar shoes, we made the center mass just so it has that like symmetrical look to it. I think it'd be really cool to do that kind of thing for the face too. And those are shoes that like obviously came off of one of her horses. So the funny thing about this trainer is she owns 0 horses. She only trains them, and she does lessons and that kind of stuff. So she has a bunch of horses that she takes care of, but she doesn't own any herself, which is pretty interesting. I thought that was interesting anyway. But I think those bar shoes right there are pretty cool looking. I still got to try to take the nails out of them and clean them up and see what they really look like, and then see if we can get them in there. Try to make them both exactly the same shape, just so they both fit in properly, which would be nice. And then I have some shoes that I've curved and stuff like that I'll probably start with the neck. So let me take some time to clean these guys up and put some neck pieces on. And when we come back, hopefully we're ready to look at the rest of the facial features. Maybe we won't do that until we start the detail work, but we can look at what they would look like. And then we can decide whether this top guy stays exactly where he is and whether the jawline stays right where it is. It's a little high. Like if it was a little bit shorter, it'd be so much better. There is the option that I could just cut the heels of the top of this shoe off, round it out. And I could probably do it while it's on here with the angle grinder and just round it out and make it look good and all sorts of stuff. But that's something we'll have to see when we get in there. That could work pretty good. Okay. Anyway, give me some time. I'm going to clean up these shoes and get some things ready, and then we'll put some more pieces on. All right, we got some neck. We got some neck now. Looking pretty good. The jawline, we're not going to move. I was debating trying to move it out a little bit, but with how hard it was to get on in the first place, we're not going to mess with it. We're just gonna go with the flow for a lot of these things coming forward. It's interesting though, because I try my best to use the same shape of shoe on one side as I do the other. But again, every shoe is so different that it's really, really hard. Even if I put them in the same orientation and stuff on one side to the other, I end up with gaps that don't, like, there's no gap here, but there is one on this side. And I debated like tearing a couple shoes off and repositioning them, trying to get them to match. But I don't think that that's feasible, because there's gaps like that everywhere. Like there's a big gap in the body here where the gap on this side, there is one, but it's a lot smaller. Like I can put my whole hand in this one, and this one I couldn't get more than 4 fingers in there. During the detail process, maybe we'll fill some of them, but then again, it will make it look even more lopsided if we do so, because we'd fill a gap on this side that doesn't exist on the other, or something like that. So I think just like understanding that it's a horseshoe sculpture, you understand that gaps are going to be in different places at different times, different areas. So all these neck shoes here are just one weld, one tack. And so I'm gonna go through and get them all done. And I'm actually going to go through the whole body and strengthen and hit a bunch of welds that I think could be a little bit better. There are some that I miss entirely that I can go through. So we're going to see how my snake ability is, trying to snake the welding nozzle through the body to try to get some welds going. But I'm happier with the head than I thought I was going to be. It's coming along really, really good. We made these guys, so we're going to put them on. These guys cleaned up okay, and I realized something about these bar shoes, that they were made out of pre-existing other shoes. These aren't shoes that you would have bought, like the Heart bar shoes. Those ones are purchased that way. They're already together. Whereas if you see these two guys, somebody took a piece of another shoe and welded it between the two heels and then grinded it up. The back is beautiful, is perfect because it has to be, because that's the part that attaches to the foot, the hoof. But I think that's a little bit more character than you generally see, and it's in such a way that it's really hard to get the rust out of there, and so we're going to leave it in. I think it's a pretty cool idea, or a pretty cool accent, I guess. Like, is just like these very specialty shoes that were specifically made for a specific horse with a specific problem, and we just don't alter them as much as possible. So I cleaned them up, I put them in a forge just to straighten them out a little bit, and then I haven't touched them. Like, I didn't want to reshape them at all. I was debating because one is slightly wider than the other, just by like 1/4 of an inch or whatever. But I don't think I'm going to worry about that. I think I'm going to just try to leave them as natural as possible to the way that the original farrier had made them. And so now I want to just try to find the perfect orientation to put this guy in, and then try to get him on. And then we'll go through and strengthen everything just a little bit more. Like, make everything a little bit more permanent, so I can't go back on it. I don't think I'll be able to clamp that. Yeah, no, it's just gonna fall. Sure didn't move. I think we got it. Oh, I think it looks pretty cool. I think that just brings a little bit more personal touch to it, which is really good, really, really good. And then the eyes can just fit in here, which is really nice, because the eyes will probably span this gap. Yeah, and then we got the nostrils, and then I found these two shoes, kind of like we did on the other, the horse head. I put some horseshoes in between this shoe here to fill in this gap, and I thought that really gave the bridge of the nose a better look. The only problem is this is smaller than that one, so to try to put them in this way is almost impossible to do it and make it look good, because I don't want to take away from those guys. So I could reshape them a bit, but I also thought about turning it around. So they kind of sit in the shoe, but also come this way. So I haven't decided yet on exactly how I want that to work. So it still brings that bridge of the nose up through the shoe like we like, but it kind of just gives us some iffy stuff around the face. So I haven't decided on how we're gonna do this, fill this area yet. So I'm gonna take some time, think about that. Hang on. That might be okay. Either way, I'm going to take some time and think about that. And in the meantime, I'm going to go through, I'm going to get all of these welds in this area taken care of, just so we stop having some wobbliness going on. Right? Some of them are still really wobbly and they're minusculely out of place, so I'm going to pull them, weld them, that kind of stuff. And we're going to brush all of the welds, and then hopefully from here, either we're going to finish the detailing in the face, or we're going to move to the back end and take care of the back end, because this is really bugging me. I don't know if you can see from there, but I took off the other side. So all of the shoes that I didn't like back here are off of it now, because I actually used 2 of them were perfect for up here in the neck. So I just repurposed them up here, which I think worked really, really well. So I'm going to take care of all the welds and the brushing up until the point where we're working on. And then when we come back, hopefully I have some shoes shaped for the way that we want the tail end to go, the hind end. And I think I'll probably put these guys on first. These back pieces. And then we'll put all the shoes with these incorporated into them. So then everything just kind of works into one cohesive unit at the end. I'm worried about how heavy the back end's going to get before we get the tail solidified. So one of the things we might do right after the back end is done is get at least the main core of the tail done and set in place, so we can move this thing forward and still have 3 points of contact on the table. But either way, yeah, I'm going to take a bunch of time here. It's going to take a bit of just welding and brushing, and I'm going to take care of all of that. And then when we come back, we're going to put some more shoes on this guy. Okay. Almost there. Hi, welcome back. So, ran into an issue. Well, not really an issue. I came down to the shop and I put some music on and I just started. Originally, I was just like, I'm going to clean up some shoes, get the straight pieces taken care of, right? And then figure out like maybe how I want to do the back end. And then I just kept going, and I didn't turn the camera on. I just had the tunes cranked up and just kept going. So I apologize for that. I just realized just recently while I was making this that I haven't recorded 90% of what I had done here. So for today anyway. So we'll walk through things that I've done, and we'll walk through the things that we're going to try to get done today with whatever time I have left. So let's just see what we got. Where did we leave off? That's the question. I don't even remember. I know we got the neck done. I can't remember if we put the cheeks in, but those are in. I think we did. These eyes, I don't know if they're permanent. They're just tacked there really quick. So I made the eyes, and I think they need to be rounder. But I tacked them in just to see if I like it after a while. And then we're going to do some more of the lower part of the face. And then up in here, we got to get 4 shoes for there. I made some nose pieces. I just don't like them very much. So I'm thinking about maybe I'll put them in towards the end, and we'll see. Yeah, go that way. We will see if I like them better with the other pieces in and whatnot. So they're very similar. They're almost identical to the ones we put on this horse head statue. So nothing special there. I did shape and make the piece for the back of this one, the left leg. I don't like it, but it's going to stay. I think I could have done a better job. But I had a small shoe already that was cut with the heels cut off of it. And so I kind of just rounded out the sides and then straightened it and put it into that fashion and then stuck it on. Who knows? I don't like how it turned out very much, but I mean, I don't notice it when I'm looking at it, like when I'm walking around it. So I don't think anybody else will. I filled in the hind end. Now, all of those still need to be fully tacked on or fully welded on because they're not. I'm just playing around. I have some overlapped shoes that are just overlapped 2 and 3 times back here just to give us some more bulk. But I'm not sure. And then these pieces are still a mystery to me. The ones that we made, like the same time that we made the 2 hind legs, we made these guys. And they're still a mystery as to how I want to put them on. I still want to put them on because I think it will look good. But I'm still just playing around with maybe, maybe not, maybe, maybe not. And then I was thinking about the accent pieces, the mane, the tail, the forelock, the ears, the pieces that we want to put on the outsides of the legs. I was thinking about all of that, and so I started working on some pieces for that as well. As you can see here, I've got this tail. Now, this is just obviously the main part of the tail. We're going to add a lot to it. But as you can tell at the front, I'm putting it in the vise and then bending it by hand. Because if I put it in the forge and then bent it and then tried to wire brush it, it's not going to go well. And the reason why that's a thing for me is because I want the tail and the mane and the forelock to be shiny. Well, as shiny as I can get them. These are really rusted. And so I can't always get right in all of the rusty areas, all of the grooves. So I have a handful of rasps over here that I still have to brush up and then anneal. We're just going to heat them up and let them cool down so they're easier to cut and easier to bend. If I didn't anneal these, heat them up and cool them down, there's no shot that I would have been able to bend them the way that I was. They would have just snapped. And that's what I was scared of the whole time, is like, did it get soft enough in the forge? And it looks like that's so. This dowel here actually was put here because I didn't want to move this guy off of the welding table to do the tail. So I kept on coming up with certain ways of doing things. This is an old way I was thinking of doing things. But this I thought it was interesting, so I left it in here. Is right here, between like straight through. That's perfectly straight. I thought that was pretty interesting. that I can put a thing through it, and it's perfectly straight on that plane. So I thought that was cool. I don't know. So so this was to see if there was a point at the front of the horse I could build the tail off of without like attaching it to it, but I could use it as a measuring place to do the tail. And it turns out that there was a spot, but with this clamp here, I couldn't get this piece down, and it was just a disaster. So anyway, I pulled out one of my sawhorses from under the bench there, and then I clamped a piece of 2x4, natural 2x4. Natural? I don't think it's natural. Actual 2x4. And then I clamped a 1/4-inch piece of flat bar to the top, and so that brought us exactly to where we wanted to be for the height of the welding table, give or take like a 1/16 of an inch or something like that. So that's what I've been using to measure if the tail will be touching the ground and not too much. It will have some give in it, so that's why I don't think you guys can see this here, but it does go down just slightly past the bar. But this thing will have some give in it for sure. Like I can even move it with my hands, and so I want it to be able to settle. Sorry, there's spatter. Okay, so what else have I done? So we got this guy pretty much ready to go. We're going to stick him on when we're ready. And then I'm going to use rasps to do the whole tail. And so that's what these guys are here for. I'm going to cut them right where we want them. And I'm just going to start from the bottom. I'm going to bend them where I want them, and in the same fashion here. Hopefully, I might bend them a little bit before we take, because we still have to anneal these. We still have to hot heat these up. But I'm going to just start welding them on in flowing, and bend them and have them just flowing in all sorts of angles, just all the way down until we have a nice top. We'll use the grinder of the cut wheel to make sure that it all marries up into one center point here. I'm okay with it coming out a bit. So I only have 5 here right now, but I have hundreds of them more. I also have these 2, which are a little bit thicker, that are ready to go. I just have to brush them and bend them. Those are already annealed. And then I was thinking about the mane and the forelock. And with Courtney's advice and expertise, the mane, there's like a particular side of the horse the mane should be on for like shows and stuff, and it's the right side of the horse, which is unfortunate because the left side of the horse is the better side of the horse. It's got the good leg. The shoes marry up better on this side than on this side. Even on the back end here, there's a bulge here that's not on the other side. Just a slight bulge. I notice it. I don't think anybody else will. But I know that this side is not as good as the other side. But if we're going to do it right, we're going to put the mane on this side now, which means I'll probably turn this around at some point in time. So you guys aren't watching me do nothing while I'm over here. So that being said, we're going to use strips of rasp for that as well. I have these really long ones here. I have a couple more longer ones. I have some really short ones that I've just been cutting up. And so we're going to do the forelock first, which is going to probably just be three to 5 little strands that are going to come down to just past the eyes, right? So that's another reason why I wanted the eyes in, is so if we do the forelock, we can do that. And then up over here, I have this straightened shoe sitting here. I'm actually going to maybe find a bigger one, a size 3 or 4, and I'm going to bend this in such a way that there's just a slight curve coming over top, and then these points just marry to the front of each of these shoes here. And then from there, we're going to just build the forelock off, or the mane off of that, and have it drape down over the neck, which is okay, I guess, because hopefully we can cover some of the gaps that I was talking about. The neck is actually a pretty noticeable on this side compared to this side. There's no gap here, but there's a big gap here. And so the forelock will cover that. The forelock. The mane will cover that side, which is pretty awesome. But I'm thinking I want to come down to this shoe, and this guy's not long enough. So I think I might need to straighten a size 4 shoe, which is quite an endeavor sometimes. But either way, that's why that's up there, is to just remind me that I want to do that. Now, when it comes to the outsides of the legs, when we were making when I was straightening the shoes for it, I decided at one point in time that I would just try to make one right away. So I made this one because it was the closest one to me, and I hate it. I hate it just because I had a hard time getting the angle, the original angle, in here without marring everything. But you see here that I put a massive dent into it and that kind of stuff. And I probably shouldn't have hammered it. I probably could have just bent it using the vise or the hardy hole on the anvil, which I might do to test another one. But as this stands here, I hate this. And so I've pivoted materials for this part of the horse as well. I'm also going to use rasp. So I cut these 4 pieces from a rasp. I still need to heat them up and straighten them back out. This guy's a little wavy. This was from an old rasp that I started to use for a project, and it never worked out. So that's why it's all wavy. But what I want to do is I'm going to do the same thing. Like, so the forelock, the mane, and the tail are all going to be shiny rasp pieces. And so I kind of want to do shiny rasp pieces for here too, just to symbolize a little bit of horsehair, it's a little bit of fur, right? And so hopefully I can get these the way I'd like them to be. I'm going to obviously cut them and shape them a little bit better because we don't want this pointy, like, knife-looking end. But I think that would be really cool. So I'm going to use rasp for that. The problem I'm going to have is bending it around the hind legs and that front leg there. One of them is fatter than the others, so it was unfortunate. So we're going to use it for this long guy so it's less noticeable. I might grind it a little bit just to get it down, but yeah. So my first test to see if I like it is going to be finishing this front straight leg. And so I'm still stuck on how to do that. I've been thinking about putting shoes over the socket, right? If we put shoes over the socket here, and then we attach that piece, that floating piece, into here, that's awesome. I originally wanted these to be structural because I was going to strengthen this side by attaching it to the body and the leg and then welding there. So it was a little bit more structural, excuse me, because I'm fairly happy with the strength of how this is going to go, except for this front leg. And so I'm going to figure out a way to add some more underneath so that when I pick it up off this table and put it down, this leg doesn't just snap off. I don't think it will. I think I did the welds pretty well, given the angles I had to do it on. But it's yeah, it's scaring me. That's all. So now I'm trying to figure out the best shoes to do this part with. And I think I'm going to use these hind shoes for the front ones. And then try to just get them to float there. But I don't know, like I might have to bend them a little bit better. like get this one pointed or in a little bit, and then just weld it on and have it be floating. And we'll have to do some really good welds for that to happen. But yeah, I originally wanted these ones to be here, but I think that's just too similar to the one that's there, and so it will take away from it. I think the hind ones might be better. So those will be over here, and then we have to figure out how we want to do the back ones. Same kind of problem. If I go too low, though, it's going to cover some of the detail that we put in. And if I go too high, it looks silly. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do that. And so basically, I've been just doing a bunch of stuff while I think about this problem. Because once I figure out this problem for the hind legs, I might just stick a shoe on, put the piece on, and then see how I feel. But I don't know. Once I figure out that problem, we're going to start cruising through everything. Remember, we originally made these, or had these big guys, these massive dudes that we wanted to do this with. And I still don't know. I still just don't know if they're any good. I could reshape them, I guess. Just bring them in a bit. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. So, for now, I still have a bunch of pieces to get ready. I have to brush a lot of these rasp pieces. I have to get those rasps annealed for the tail, because I'm going to get the tail done before I worry about the rest of the hind end. And I'm going to have to go and make a decision on the hind end like right away, so I can go and reinforce all the welds. Because there's no way I'm leaving the back end tacked together, because that would be silly of me. And I have to do that before I attach the tail. So yeah, I know that this little segment here I didn't really do much other than bend a tail at the beginning. But I'm going to figure out some of these pieces here. And I won't put them on until we come back. But I'm going to figure out some of these pieces for sure. And then we'll come back and I'll put them together. Yeah, we're working on almost all detail work right now, which is really awesome. Yeah, so I got to figure out these 4 shoes in here, and then if we count the tail as detail work, then we're only on detail work after I get these 4 shoes in. I only have 2 shoes for it, so I need to find 2 more. So we'll be back. I'm going to get something to drink. My throat is dry. We'll be back. All right, so I've ran into a couple problems. Not necessarily with the sculpture itself, but I was getting a lot of stuff done. I think I heated up, annealed, looks like 12 rasps, and then that killed my propane. So I'm gonna have to go and get some more. That's why it's sitting over there. I might have to invest in another propane tank or a bigger one. I just don't want to be lugging a bigger one around. That's a 30-pound tank, and it lasts quite a while. I haven't had to replace it since we started this project, I don't think. So it's actually not too bad. But anyway, so I have a couple of things that I want to be putting in place. So I put the two face shoes in. These ones are originally, I was going to put them up here. And then I was like, they fit really good down here. So I squished them a little bit and stuck them in there. And so that's where that's going to go. And then up here, I think I'm going to use a slider to fit in there, because I think I'll be able to fit a slider in there pretty easily, actually. So the only problem is I'm going to have to find another slider almost identical to this one and then clean them up and put them in. And then like it fits in really weird, but good. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I never actually checked this side though. Yeah, it's pretty good. It'd be pretty good. So, and I think that will give it a good look. And then we're using another slider, another couple sliders, which is good. And then we got the nose pieces. I'm so worried about the angle and like if they're gonna look good. And I'm just so nervous to put them on. But I think I might give it a shot right now. And just see. We can do it like same like we have with the eyes right now, is we just kind of tacked it on and went from there. Just to kind of give an idea of what it might look like. Well, this one's going to be difficult. Left-handed difficult? Left-handed difficulty? Oh, this one's a little... This one sits different. It's got a bigger gap. I don't know. There's a gap up here that's not on the other side. I don't know if it matters that much, but I could probably fill it. I don't know. I don't know. Either way, that's going to be it for this week, I think. I shouldn't have touched it. Shouldn't touch it. So now I'm not going to have it right where I liked it. I liked that one actually quite a bit. It's ugly. Oh, it's really ugly. We might be able to fill it. Yeah, I don't know. That's almost an entire face done, which is good. Yeah. Sorry, my brain's just racing. I'm just fighting with myself all day about how to do stuff. Provided that the eyes and the nostrils stay. I still think the eyes might be too big or too wide. Like we might want to pull them in, round them out a little bit more. But I want to get these top pieces in first before I make that decision to see if I really like it or not. So I'm going to take a couple seconds later on and try to make it or get another horseshoe exactly like that one, clean them up and stick them in, see how it goes. As far as the tail is concerned, again, I've made 12 of these guys, and I'm just gonna brush them all up and then just start bending them, and then I'll just slowly tack them on, see how it looks, that kind of thing, over and over and over again, just to see if I can get a full tail kind of thing looking. I'm having a hard time visualizing what the tail looks like, and I think visualizing what the tail looks like over other parts of the sculpture, I think the rasps are giving me the hard time because they're so long and like flat and rigid, and I can't see a way of manipulating them in a way that gets me where I want. It's hard for me to visualize it. Not that I can't do it, it's just I can't visualize it. So it's a slow go. And then we got to finish off the detail on the legs, get the forelock. The ears I'm avoiding. I'm avoiding the ears so much. But I have to figure those out soon too. But anyway, thanks for watching this week. Thanks for hanging out. I realized how short this guy's neck is just recently. Like I knew it was short, but like it's really short. So we're going to see how the mane looks. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. Hopefully next week we actually get to finish this guy up and then give it a full brush and scrape and then maybe show it to the person. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.